Americans are going to the moon, landing next month. The launch of the long-announced Artemis II mission is scheduled for November next year. As part of the flight, astronauts will orbit the moon without landing. This is to take place during the next Artemis mission planned for 2025. However, it turns out that the Americans will attempt to land on the Silver Globe earlier. This is to take place on January 25, 2024, and the mission is to be carried out by a private company, Astrobotic. The American space company Astrobotic has prepared a lander called Peregrine. It is to be planted on the lunar surface in January next year. There will be no astronauts on board, but it will carry scientific instruments from NASA and other American institutions used to study the lunar environment. All this will take place in preparation for the Artemis manned mission. A few years ago, NASA decided to commission American companies under the Commercial Lunar Payload Services (CLPS) program to develop the technologies needed to land on the Silver Globe. In this way, NASA wanted to stimulate the development of the private space sector in the USA, thanks to which a new stage of lunar exploration could begin. The use of commercial opportunities, as Jim Bridenstine, NASA administrator, said at the time, is to enable more frequent and inexpensive access to the lunar surface. This program was also part of the trend towards public-private partnerships for space exploration. The assumption of the CLPS program is that selected companies are to compete with each other in obtaining orders from NASA to deliver various cargo to the moon and explore it. It is mainly about handling processes, integrating cargo and, above all, delivering scientific experiments, landers, rovers and other instruments, to the moon's surface. Astrobotic was among the companies selected in 2018. John Thornton, CEO of Astrobotic, admitted that it was a big challenge. One of the biggest challenges we're taking on is launching a mission and attempting to land on the lunar surface for a fraction of what it would otherwise cost, Thornton said. Only half of the missions that attempted to land on the moon were successful. So it's definitely a daunting challenge. At every stage one will be terrified and excited at the same time, he added. The start is scheduled for December 24. It is to be carried out using a new rocket from the United Launch Alliance industrial group called Vulcan Centaur. It's a heavy launch vehicle. It is partially based on the design of the Atlas V rocket. The mission is expected to reach lunar orbit within a few days. It will then orbit the Silver Globe, taking the necessary measurements. The landing attempt is to be made on January 25. The maneuver itself will take place automatically, but it will be monitored from the Flight Control Center at the company's base. If the maneuver is successful, it will be the first successful landing on the moon by a private company. This spring, the Japanese startup ISPACE tried to place a lander on the moon. But the attempt ended up creating another crater. A landing attempt by an Israeli company in 2019 ended with a similar result. Interestingly, the Israeli spacecraft Bereshit was carrying a cargo of tardigrades that were to be used for experiments. Knowing the survival capabilities of these creatures, scientists wonder whether they sometimes manage to survive a disaster. NASA payloads include neutron spectrometer system, which will look for traces of water ice near the lunar surface by examining the composition of the soil. The Linear Energy Transfer Spectrometer will also fly to the Moon, a device that will collect information about radioactivity on the surface of the silver globe. On the lunar surface, the equipment is expected to operate for at least 10 days before the extreme conditions of a lunar night arrive, and the equipment is likely to stop work. 10,000 naps a day. The surprising habits of hooded penguins. Masked penguins nesting in Antarctica sleep 11 hours a day. However, it is not a constant dream. Scientists studying these birds have discovered that each day they take short naps that last a few seconds each, thousands of times. Constantly falling asleep and waking up may seem torture to us, but penguins use this tactic to maintain some degree of vigilance and protect the eggs and chicks. Scientists studying hooded penguins, Pygoscelis antarcticus, on King George Island in Antarctica have noticed a surprising way these birds sleep. In a study published in the journal Science, they described their tactics, which allowed them to constantly monitor their nests, protecting the eggs and chicks from predators. These birds sleep 11 hours a day, but they never fall into a deep, uninterrupted sleep. Instead, they take short naps that last only a few seconds. There may be up to 10,000 such naps every day. It appears that this method is sufficient to fulfill at least some of the restorative functions of sleep. When one parent penguin goes on a quest for food, the other parent stays to guard the offspring. The stay-at-home parent must remain constantly vigilant, keeping an eye on the eggs and young chicks. They are threatened by predators, but also by other penguins that can steal building material from the nest. Therefore, a penguin parent faces a challenge when it comes to sleep. Too much sleep would leave the chicks and eggs unprotected from potential threats. So what do? They try to stay awake by falling into short naps, lasting a few seconds. Scientists have previously observed that captive penguins of various species often sleep in short bursts. But they didn't know how this behavior manifested itself in wild birds, or what benefits it had compared to longer sleep. The research team first captured 14 penguins from a colony on King George Island and equipped them with brain activity recorders and accelerometers to record muscle movements and body positions. All 14 individuals were parents with eggs in the nests. The penguins' behavior was also recorded on video. Scientists were particularly interested in the moments when the birds' eyelids or even their entire heads drooped from exhaustion, which indicated a nap. During 10 days of observation, the birds never fell into long-term sleep. The longest recorded nap was 34 seconds. That's what was most striking and interesting. The fact that they can deal with fragmented sleep continuously, day and night, says study co-author Paul-Antoine Labourel from the Neuroscience Research Center in France. 11 hours a day. But only a few seconds at a time. When the researchers checked the data loggers, they found that on average the birds slept almost half of each day, but most of them did so in a series of short naps, of which there were more than 10,000, and each lasted an average of 4 seconds. The position seemed to make no difference to the birds. They napped both standing and lying down. We have never observed such persistent sleep fragmentation in any other species, Labourel notes. brainwave recorders showed that even during these short naps, the birds fell into the so-called slow-wave sleep. This is the dominant form of sleep in birds. Such sleep is also crucial for human regeneration and rest. In this phase there is deep rest. Another interesting finding from the study was that, contrary to what the team initially believed, birds nesting on the outskirts of the colony actually slept better than birds nesting closer to the center. This suggests that the need to remain vigilant against predators such as skuas may not be putting as much pressure, and instead the theft of building material from nests by other penguins may pose a more immediate threat. The study authors point out that sleeping in short bursts may still provide birds with some of the benefits of longer sleep, such as synaptic regeneration and removal of toxic waste products from the brain. Biological robots made of human cells can heal damaged tissue. Anthrobots are tiny robots made of human trachea cells. They can move and organize themselves into larger structures. Moreover, they can heal damaged tissue. Further development of these biological robots may add more functions that will allow them to be used, for example, to remove deposits from the arteries of patients with atherosclerosis, repair spinal cord damage or detect cancer cells. Anthrobots were developed with major input from Michael Levin from Tufts University and Josh Bongard from the University of Vermont. In 2020, scientists developed xenobots, tiny robots made of frog cells. They were able to move and even carry small loads. As research progressed, xenobots gained new functions. The second generation moved faster, could perform tasks in groups and was equipped with something like memory. Recent improvements have added the ability to replicate them. However, the medical applications of xenobots were limited, primarily because they were not derived from human cells. That's why scientists used human trachea cells. They created tiny robots out of them, which they called anthrobots. These biobots can move and have been found to be able to regenerate damaged neurons. The results and description of research on anthrobots were published in the journal, Advanced Science. The multicellular robots, composed of tracheal cells, are the size of the width of a human hair. They are designed to be self-organizing. Moreover, studies have shown that they have a remarkable healing effect on other cells. This discovery is the starting point for the researchers' vision of using biobots created from patients' cells as new therapeutic tools for regeneration and treatment of various diseases. In studies on xenobots, scientists didn't really know whether their capabilities depended on the fact that they came from an amphibian embryo, or whether similar biobots could be constructed from cells of any species. In new work, Levin and Giz Gumaskaya from Tufts University proved that biobots can be successfully made from adult human cells without any genetic modifications. Moreover, they demonstrate some capabilities beyond what has been observed with xenobots. The researchers also wanted to answer several questions in the study. This includes: what are the principles that govern the way cells connect and work together in the body? Or can they be taken out of their natural context and recombined into different structures to perform different functions? We wanted to see what cells could do beyond creating default features in the body, said Gumskaya, who earned a degree in architecture before pursuing biology. By reprogramming interactions between cells, new multicellular structures can be created, analogous to the way stone and brick can be arranged into various structural elements, such as walls, arches or columns. She added. In their research, scientists discovered that cells can not only create new multicellular shapes, but can move in various ways on the surface of human neurons grown in a laboratory dish and stimulate their growth to fill the gaps caused by damage. It is not yet clear how exactly the biobots stimulate neuron growth, but the researchers confirmed that neurons developed in the area covered by a group of anthrobots, which they called Superbot. The cell assemblies we engineer in the lab may have capabilities beyond what they do in the body, Levin said. It is fascinating and completely unexpected that normal cells in the patient's trachea, without any modifications, can move on their own and stimulate the growth of neurons in the area of damage. Now we look at how the healing mechanism works and ask ourselves what else these constructs can do, he emphasized. The advantages of the biological machinery constructed by researchers include the ability to create bots from patient cells in order to use them in therapeutic work without the risk of triggering an immune response or the need to use immunosuppressive drugs. Anthrobots only last a few weeks before breaking down, so your body should absorb them once you're done working. Additionally, bots survive outside the body only in very specific conditions, and there is no risk of their unintentional spread outside the laboratory. Their creators emphasize that their work cannot reproduce, is not subject to genetic changes, additions or deletions, so there is no risk that they will evolve beyond. Each biobot starts as a single cell from an adult donor. The cells come from the surface of the trachea and are covered with hair-like projections called cilia. Cilia help tracheal cells capture tiny dust particles that have entered the respiratory tract. We all experience these cells working as we take the final step of expelling the particles and excess fluid they have captured by coughing or clearing our throat. Previous work by other research teams has shown that cells grown in the laboratory spontaneously self-organize to form tiny, multicellular clusters called organoids. Scientists have developed special growth conditions for ciliated cells. Within a few days of culture, they began to move using their cilia. Scientists noticed that these cells come together into different shapes. They also observed different types of movement. Levin said that if other cells with different functions were added, they could be designed to respond to their environment and perform different functions in the body or help build modified tissues in the laboratory. Cells in the lab connected in different ways. They reached sizes from 30 to 500 micrometers. Some were spherical and completely covered with cilia, while others were irregularly shaped or patchily covered with cilia. Still others were covered with cilia on one side but not the other. Some moved in a straight line, others chaotically. The spherical ones, fully covered with cilia, sat still and fidgeted. As the researchers put it, those with unevenly spaced cilia tended to move forward for longer distances in straight or curved paths. They typically survived for about 45 to 60 days in laboratory conditions before naturally biodegrading. Unlike xenobots, they do not require tweezers or a scalpel to shape them. And instead of embryonic cells, we can use adult cells, even cells from older patients. It is a fully scalable system. We can produce swarms of these bots in parallel, which is a good start to developing a therapeutic tool, Gummerskaya said. Levin and Gummerskaya developed a test to see if bots could heal wounds. They grew a layer of human neurons in the lab and simply scratched the layer with a thin metal rod to create an open wound. They released a swarm of anthrobots into this area, which formed a dense cluster, i.e. a superbot. Scientists expected that genetic modifications of their biobots would be needed to heal the wound. But it turned out to be unnecessary. The anthrobots caused significant neuronal regrowth on the wound they created. Neurons only didn't grow where there were no anthrobots. According to the researchers, further development of bots could lead to other applications, including removing deposits in the arteries of patients with atherosclerosis, repairing damage to the spinal cord or retinal nerve, recognizing bacteria or cancer cells, or delivering drugs to target tissues. Anthrobots could theoretically help tissue heal while producing pro-regenerative drugs. Gummerskaya explained that cells have an innate ability to self-organize into larger structures in specific ways. Cells can form layers, join together, form balls, separate by type and even move. Two significant differences from inanimate bricks are that cells can communicate with each other and dynamically create these structures, and each cell is programmed with many functions, such as movement, secretion of molecules, detection of signals, and more. We are wondering how to combine these elements to create new biological plans and functions of the body, different from those found in nature, Gummerskaya said. China's Tiangong space station photographed in its entirety for the first time. China has released the first photos of the complete Tiangong, Heavenly Palace, space station. Although the station was completed last year, it has only now been photographed in its entirety. The photos were taken by taikonauts during their return to Earth on October 30, 2023. These are the first clear photos of China's Tiangong space station in all its glory. The station became fully operational in November last year, when the last Mengtian station module was launched into orbit, joining the Tianhe main module and the Wenshan module. Mengtian, visible at the top of the image, and Wenshan, at the bottom of the image, are laboratory modules. The Tianhe module, visible in the center of the photo, contains the taikonauts' living quarters and a docking station. The first photos of the completed station were taken by taikonauts, i.e. astronauts from China, leaving the station after a 5-month stay on board. The photos were taken from a height of several hundred meters above the structure. Tiangong, Heavenly Palace. The Tianhe, Heavenly Harmony, module contains living quarters for up to 3 astronauts, along with the station's control center, power, propulsion and life support systems. It is 17 meters long and just over 4 meters in diameter. Its mass is approximately 22 tons. It also has several docking ports. The Wenshan module, the name can be translated as "Search for the Heavens," is a scientific module intended for conducting experiments. It is also an extension of the living space of the astronauts staying there. In addition to the instruments used for experiments, there are also bedrooms, which allows 6 people to stay at the station at the same time. The Wenshan module also has a small robotic arm and an airlock for use during spacewalks. Menshan, meaning heavenly dream, joined Wenshan as the second science module of Tiangong station. Like its predecessors, it was launched on board the Deluji March 5 B rocket. Menshan weighs approximately 23 tons, is 17.9 meters long and has a diameter of 4.2 meters. This module provides additional space for science experiments in zero gravity. Like the Wenshan module, it has an airlock and a small robotic arm to handle loads outside the station. In total, the station has approximately 110 cubic meters of space. It orbits at an altitude of approximately 380 kilometers above Earth. This is slightly lower than the orbit of the International Space Station, ISS. Energy is provided by solar panels that can generate 27 kilowatts of power. The whole thing currently weighs about 77 tons, a fraction of the mass of the International Space Station, ISS, which weighs about 465 tons. The station is about 20% bigger than the ISS. According to experts from the Middle Kingdom, the lifespan of the Tiangong station will range from 10 to 15 years. The first crew at Tiangong arrived when only the Tianhe module was in orbit. It was June 16, 2021. The taikonauts spent 90 days on board, 3 times longer than any previous Chinese mission. Beijing, as announced, intends to maintain a permanent presence at the station for at least a decade. In early October, during the International Astronautical Congress in Baku, the Chinese Space Agency revealed that it intended to expand the Tiangong station with an additional 3 modules, bringing the total number of modules to 6.